right. Here with Timothy Ferriss, the author of The 4-Hour Workweek here at Blog World Expo. And Tim, a lot of our readers are solo entrepreneurs. They work at home, and you're probably the king of getting a lot done in a little bit of time. And there's a couple things I want to ask you first. What was the motivating factor for you that really took you to the point where you wanted to work 4 hours a week?
Well, I think there was one particular catalyzing moment in mid-2004. So I just started guest lecturing at Princeton a year and a half before that in high-tech entrepreneurship, and was working 7 to 9 p.m. and weekends and so forth and so on. And I had a long-term girlfriend break up with me and give me a plaque, which was her version of the Dear John letter that said work hours are like 5 p.m. And she encouraged me to keep that on my desk. So that was the wake-up call that led me to start experimenting. First in London for 4 weeks, then that extended into 18 months. And I never planned on writing the book, but ultimately taking some of the approaches that small startups have used to compete with large companies, so 5-person companies competing with 5,000-person companies, outsourcing and so forth, and applying that all to my personal life. That led to the book organically. So it's been a very interesting year and a half for me.
Awesome. What would you say to people, because a lot of times as a coach I come across people and they don't have the juice necessary to cut their work week down to 4 hours because there's the work week fills up their time because there's nothing else outside of that. So what do you say to people like that? How do they find that stuff that they want to do?
I would say that excessive action is a form of laziness. So you can be lazy in thought and very busy in action. Or conversely, you can do the hard thinking, which you might set aside 1 or 2 hours for. At let's say an initial point down 80-20 analysis, and then cut back your work hours 30-40%. There are a number of, I think most of the rules that people follow are based on certain assumptions. So if you re-examine retirement, accept that retirement is not a likely or desirable scenario for most people, being idle. So you will be active from now until the foreseeable future, even when you start losing some of your physical capabilities. If your goal is to redistribute retirement throughout life, and you look at the cost of that, and you actually go through, and I have calculators on my website for doing that, but if you look at the actual target monthly income necessary to experience those things, you realize that you don't have to postpone it. So the drive to accumulate as much as possible is decreased. And because you can make $10 million, put it in the bank. There's a fantasy of a lot of Silicon Valley entrepreneurs, a $10 million number, because then you find something that yields 10%, you get $1 million, and it's a nice round number. But if your daily income ideally exceeds by a multiple your cost of living, then you have financial freedom. So the question then becomes not how do I accumulate more work and work for the sake of working, but how do I allocate that time to things and the people that give me the most meaning and gratification. And the first step is taking a step back. Let's say using something like rescuetime.com to start analyzing your time used on the computer, but also to cost out your ideal lifestyle and recognize that if you make $40,000 to $60,000 a year, your ideal lifestyle is very much within reach. It does not need to be expensive. For traveling 18 months around the world, I saved $32,000 as opposed to sitting on my couch in San Francisco. So it does not cost as much as you think.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Tim. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.